Hello there, I'm Scotty and you're not, and welcome back. March of the Living Dead. No, I didn't get a haircut, it's just coming back a little bit. Uh, to March of the Living Dead. Welcome back to March of the Living Dead. And, okay, so, just so everyone's caught up, in case you missed it, yesterday I had a long work day. We were down a person. There's usually 3 of us on our janitorial crew. There's only 2 of us because of COVID and everything. We can only have 3 people in the van, worker-wise. Our supervisor doesn't count. He's driving. And there's 3 seats and 1 for each of us. So, yeah. And one of us called in. Wasn't me, obviously, but one of our people called in, and so it was just, I didn't call in, he didn't show up. So it was just 2 of us, and we work on our butts off. We had an extra site to do. Usually we do like 5 sites on Mondays, and we had 6. So it took us till almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When I walked in and recorded that video, that short video, it was 2:05 p.m. Central Time. I was tired. I was exhausted. I just didn't feel like doing a review. And I still had to finish the movie. I started watching it, and I didn't finish it out. I was maybe 1/3 of the way in, maybe a half hour in, to a 90-something minute movie. So there was no way I was going to have the stamina to sit there and watch the movie, then review it. I just, no. Because, so you get it today. And what I'm going to do to kind of space between, because that's what I would usually do, is I'm going to switch it this week only to Tuesday and Thursday. You're going to get it this week. Just because I'm all messed up. So you're going to get Day of the Dead today on Tuesday. And you're going to get Land of the Dead, which I will watch shortly after this at some point on Thursday. Yes. Now, I didn't actually watch this particular copy. Because I told myself I want to be able to watch this while I'm at work, while I'm on break or in the van, try to get it done. And I remember that it was on Tubi at some point. So I looked. It wasn't there. It's on YouTube, though. But I think I actually liked watching it. It was on Tubi, but it was a VHS vault. So it was a VHS rip of the movie. And I guess, I don't know if the YouTube version was, but I actually kind of enjoyed that fact that it was a VHS rip. It was more authentic. Like, I was watching it from a VHS, like this was 1990 whatever, and I was watching this. This came out in 1985, and I don't think VHS were prominent quite yet. But, yeah. But I do like this art on here. So Day of the Dead, like George Romero, even though Night of the Living Dead, he claims that he wasn't trying to have that commentary on stuff. He really pushed it in with the next 2, because Dawn of the Dead had a commentary, and this one has commentary. Like, what can you, like, okay, so each film is about a stage in the zombie apocalypse. The first one was the start of it, people coming to terms with it and trying to struggle to fight. The second one, it was well underway, and people were trying to survive. But here, zombies have overtaken human society. They comment on the fact that there's probably you can't make connection with anyone's, and they even talk about shopping. Days of going to shopping malls are over, which, comments on Dawn of the Dead. So, yeah. And the story is that they say there's about 12 of them, are in this underground mine area. Mostly military people, a couple scientists, and stuff like that. And there's the one scientist, Dr. Logan, who they call Dr. Frankenstein, and, good to Romero for actually acknowledging that Frankenstein was the doctor, not the monster. So I'm just saying, good on him. But hold on, down a little bit. But yeah. So he's doing experiments. He's trying to prove that the zombies, like, I guess with Bub, he's trying to prove that the zombies can still, you know, still have some memory of, you know, of the way things were. Like with Bub, he takes a razor and he tries to shave, and he's on the phone and he tries to talk to his Aunt Lucinda or whatever it was, and Aunt Lucille, something like that, I don't know. So like that. We find out later that he's kind of bribing them with human organs to do this stuff, but it's a way of teaching him, Hey, you do good, you know. Yeah. Now, there's always been a question on whether or not the these zombie movies were actually taking place over the same period of time. Like Night of the Living Dead happened, then dawn, then day, and within a certain couple year period. Well, they have Stephen King's book, Salem's Lot, which came out in 1973, I believe. Yes, I had to look it up. Okay, now when did that come out? 1973, I believe, if I remember correctly reading it. I think it's 1973. So 73 or 75. 73? I don't know. It came out in the 1970s. So all I know is that this couldn't be in the same time period of Night of the Living Dead. And it's always been questioned as whether or not they're actually sequels. And I was thinking this when I was watching. I'm like, you could take Sarah and you could have just made her Fran from Dawn of the Dead, and it probably could have been the same character. I mean, she was a research scientist here, so maybe not. But who knows? But yeah. So this is my favorite one so far. I'm sorry, I know people have said Dawn of the Dead is the best of these movies, and it was good. It was good. I'll give it that. But I was into this one. I enjoyed it more. The topics that they were talking about kind of made more sense to me. Kind of pulled me in. I don't know about more sense, but kind of pulled me in more than the stuff they were talking about in Dawn of the Dead. They're basically saying, hey, the zombies, they run the land. We're just kind of, they've taken over. So now we're kind of just living in their world now, basically, paraphrasing, of course. But yeah, and Colonel Rhodes, he's down here, played by Joe Pilato, may he rest in peace, is the biggest piece of shit character in this movie. I mean, he is just, from beginning to end, a piece of shit, pain in the ass, asshole type character. And that's, and it's showing that Romero is not only evolving the zombie apocalypse, but the conflict between the humans themselves. Like in the first one, you had Larry and Ben arguing over which was better to stay up the top or go into the basement. They were both wrong, by the way. And then in Dawn of the Dead, you had, our human survivors, and then you had the gang of bikers, led by Tom Savini, of course. And and here you have a military people who are in charge, and they completely taken over this thing. And Colonel Rhodes is in charge of all of this, and he's got these guys with guns, and they're wrangling up these Zeds for. I'm gonna refer to zombies to Zeds, so they're wrangling up these Zeds for the experiments and stuff. But they don't exactly know what's going on, and when they find out what's going on, like he keeps trying to show him that he's teaching Bob how to behave human. Like he hands him a gun that's not loaded, and he immediately tries to fire at Colonel Rhodes. So would I. If I was in a situation and killing him, I don't know, that probably makes things worse, I guess. But And then he gets all pissed at that, and then they find out that he's using organs, you know. And when he gets pissed, and they shoot the hell out of the doc, right? But this really, and yes, I've heard a lot of people say that this movie is boring because there's a lot of talking. But if you actually listen to what they're talking about, it actually does further the story. There's talking. There's the the helicopter pilot who they call Flyboy. There's a connection there, connection callback, whatever. And he's talking about how he wants to get away, and he wants, the three of them can get away, him, Sarah, and the other guy, and they can make babies. No, he's not trying to hit on Sarah. He's just saying, they can create a new society, try to get away. Same thing. Sarah is actually trying to cure what started the pandemic, try to find out, make a cure and fix the zombies. But they're dead, right? Like, if we're still going by the lore of the first one, it was dead bodies rising from the grave, right? And then if you were bit, you were infected. So it would only work on the ones who were bit. It would only reverse, right? And we see Miguel, her sort of boyfriend, he gets bit during a time where they're trying to, here's the thing. So they're trying to wrangle one of these zombies, and Miguel's holding the thing, and it breaks. And he gets bit. And then after everything happens, they're like, well, it's his fault. Some of my men are dead, and it's that, I can't say the word because he's racist, but it's that guy's fault. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not his fault at all. He was holding the thing around the neck happened to snap and break. He had nothing to do with it. He was doing his job, and it broke. And Sarah, cuts off the arm to amputate and stop the infection. And if there's one thing that I'm going to give, a negative to, it's that we don't see whether or not he was actually infected or not. I mean, you could say, because he dies in a pretty spectacular way, leading the zombies away, and they eviscerate him and stuff. And I just think that, I don't know, maybe you could say, oh, he wasn't infected and that's why he saved the day, or he knew he was infected and sacrificed himself so he wouldn't change. Who knows? Also, Rhodes gets eviscerated too, and I love how when he's dying, he's yelling out, "Joe got him! Joe got him! Joe got him!" Best death in the movie. I'm giving it to him. Best death. I mean, his and Miguel's deaths are sort of similar, but the fact that he's yelling out, "Choke on him," that adds to it. I mean, that makes it a million times better. And it is Bub, because he finds that, Bub knows, you killed my friend, you killed the doc. He shoots him, and then the rest of them start to eviscerate him. Yeah. If there's another thing, here's another thing. The jump scare dreams that, I forgot her name already. Is it in the back? Sarah. It's not in the back, but I remembered it. Sarah. She keeps having these dreams. At the beginning, she's up against a wall, which is a callback to Dawn of the Dead. It starts with Fran up against the wall. And, she's looking around, and these hands pop out. She goes, and she wakes up. And then later, there's another dream where she's laying in, because she shares a room with Miguel at the time, and she's laying there. And he's laying there, and his stomach falls out. She wakes up, and that's a dream. And then at the end, they do another dream jump scare ending where she and the other two are running from the zombies. They say, oh, we got to get there. We don't know if we can make it. We don't know if we can make it, or whatever. We don't know if we can get to the... We got to go. Let's hope they gassed it up, or whatever. I'm sorry about the accent. And she gets there, and she opens the thing, and the zombie pops out, and it's another dream, and she's on the beach with the other two. They made it. I guess they didn't have a budget to shoot them flying away. Maybe Romero thought it would echo the end of Dawn of the Dead too much, but I do want to say one more thing though about the science experiments. I really liked the part where he's talking about this one. Logan's talking about this one zombie, and he's like, "I've taken out his stomach, and yet he's still trying to feed on me. He wants to eat me, even though he has no stomach. He will get no nourishment from it, but it's instinct." Yeah, that blew me away. I'm like, that's instinct. And even later when he's shown the thing, it's instinct. Even though he was teaching them how to do it, it's still the instinct is there. The instinct is there, you know, trying to get them to remember what it was. They mentioned this in Dawn of the Dead. Why are they all going to the mall? Well, human instinct. They remember being human. Although I don't get why they call them dumb fucks in this. I don't think that zombies are stupid necessarily. They've devolved somewhat, but they want to eat human flesh. But I never once thought of them as being stupid or idiotic or anything like that. They just, I don't know, they slow down, I guess, and they've mutated. But I never thought, especially the remake Dawn of the Dead ones. Those are just monsters. But yeah, here's another negative. It's a mixed aspect. I'll say it's a mix. The score. Sometimes it's okay, but then there's times where like the music doesn't fit with it. Like they're in a situation where they're underground, there's zombies all around, and you hear like do 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 something like that. It's like, huh? And yes, I'm gonna call it to the fact that very briefly you hear that do 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 as a callback to Dawn of the Dead. They have it in there just very quickly, but overall, I did really enjoy this better than Dawn of the Dead. So far, this is at the top of my list. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to say when it comes to Dawn of the Dead, it's pretty good. I do want to comment that the VHS transfer they had was a little distinct with the words and the sound, but it's an old VHS copy, So what are your thoughts on Day of the Dead? I'm going to eventually have to watch this version to see how crystal clear it is and stuff. Probably a better viewing experience, but I did enjoy my experience. But what do you thought on this? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.